Thank you, Mr. Hirschman, for that very kind introduction, and let me express my deep gratitude for this recognition. It is truly an honor to be recognized with the 2020 Special Award for Integrity in Public Service by the Coalition for Integrity. An early influence on my decision to become a physician scientist was my experience as a young boy delivering prescriptions for my father, a pharmacist known back in the 1940s and 50s as Doc to our Brooklyn neighbors. I also had the good fortune to receive a Jesuit education, and I happily immersed myself in its intellectual rigor, but in addition, took to heart its emphasis on social justice and service to others. Both influences helped motivate me towards a career combining science, medicine, and public service at the National Institutes of Health. As a physician scientist and public health leader, I have fought outbreaks of infectious diseases for decades, going back to the emergence of HIV in 1981 through the anthrax attacks, SARS, pandemic flu, Ebola, Zika, and now COVID-19. Whenever we are faced with a formidable enemy, especially one invisible to the naked eye, like SARS-CoV-2, we need to pull together as a nation. We must recognize the novel pathogen as our mutual enemy, commit to all of us being in the fight together, and in all we do, be guided by the data and science-based evidence. Based on my experience as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for the past 36 years, let me share a few insights regarding our responsibility as public servants to act and lead according to the highest principles of integrity, especially when facing a national public health crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic is the gravest threat to global health in more than 100 years. Here in the United States, as we contend with the cooler weather of fall and winter, the pandemic is on a perilously upward trajectory. Tragically, the daily numbers of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are eclipsing records set last spring, and at least one person is dying from COVID-19 every minute. Across the country, hospitals and healthcare staff are overtaxed, businesses are being disrupted, and the sickness and deaths caused by COVID-19 are causing widespread heartache and grief. In facing this national crisis, first among our guiding principles is fidelity to the truth, especially those truths revealed by science-based evidence and data. The public needs to hear the truth as it is, rather than as they might want it to be. Over time, truth-telling builds credibility, and credibility is essential to effective leadership. So we must always tell the truth, even if it means saying, "I do not know." Through consistent truth-telling, we maintain our integrity. Second, transparency also is key. From past outbreaks, we know that we must earn public trust and then work twice as hard to keep it. Earning public trust requires us to be open and honest. We must make sure that everyone understands where we are going, what is the goal, and how we are going to get there. We must keep our eyes on our objectives, provide regular public updates, and lead by example. When we falter in transparency, understandably, some people may either stop believing what we say or stop listening altogether. Third, we must communicate clearly to achieve understanding. Throughout my career, I have always been guided by the tenet, precision of thought and economy of expression, which has informed how I think, how I write, and how I communicate with the public. We must use language that everyone can understand, and it is crucial today that we extend our accessibility to a broad spectrum of audiences via the variety of outlets through which people get their information, including traditional media and social media, among others. Finally, we must demonstrate compassion for those affected and protect the vulnerable. We are all in this together, and to prevail, we all must pull together for the common good. Putting these principles into practice is essential to building public trust in science as the pathway to resolving the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuring that the fruits of our research, such as vaccines, realize their greatest potential benefit. The rapid pace of scientific progress on COVID-19 countermeasures is extremely heartening. Recently, data from large-scale clinical trials of 2 candidate COVID-19 vaccines indicate that they are safe and remarkable. Both are about 95% effective. Never has a vaccine been made in so short a time. This rapid pace compromised neither safety nor scientific integrity. Rather, it reflects extraordinary scientific advances that allowed us to accomplish in months what previously had taken years. The vaccine development community has taken several steps to enhance public trust in its activities. Standard practice for large-scale clinical efficacy trials requires that independent data and safety monitoring boards review clinical trial data intermittently to identify any concerns related to the safety or the performance of the vaccines. To enhance public confidence, companies have gone one step further and share their clinical trial protocols publicly. The FDA has made master protocols public, explaining how it will evaluate the safety and efficacy of SARS-CoV-2 vaccines and has shared its criteria for determining approval that might occur under an emergency use authorization. These evaluations will be made by independent FDA career scientists beholden to no one, and before any type of approval occurs, the data will be discussed in a public meeting of the Vaccine and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, an outside advisory group to the FDA. The FDA commissioner has pledged publicly to abide by the advice of the independent career scientists and the advisory committee. Finally, a determination of how the vaccinations will be prioritized among different population groups will be made by the CDC upon advice from the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, or ACIP, before final guidance is issued. Vaccinations for high priority groups may, if all goes well, begin as early as mid-December. Yet COVID-19 vaccines by themselves will not be a magic solution. Until we reduce community spread of the coronavirus to a low, manageable level, we still must adhere to simple public health measures, such as universal masking, physical distancing, and avoiding crowds, to enable us to keep the pandemic contained. Once approved, however, vaccines will be a powerful tool to help us protect the vulnerable and gradually quell and eventually end the COVID-19 pandemic, and thus begin to heal and restore our upended lives. So let me say again how grateful I am to be honored by the Coalition for Integrity, and I hope you will take heart in knowing that many independent eyes are on the COVID-19 vaccine development process at every step along the way. Please stay safe, keep well, and continue your important and outstanding work.